One of the biggest turning points in my life was when I decided to leave hospital nursing, and it's a question I get asked a lot, and I really had to look deep within to understand what was going on. And for me, it was a combination of personal, professional, spiritual, and emotional development. I believe we're all put on the planet for a reason, and it's to use our gifts and our desires in a way to maximize impact on society, and hopefully it's in a very constructive way. Now, I started nursing in my early 20s, and during that time, I needed the direction, the structure, because I wasn't mature enough to really understand how society, family, friends was impacting the decisions I was making and the person that I was becoming. There's a lot of strong and subtle influences of go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, buy a house, retire, and the fact that so much of my life is laid out before I even had a chance to develop really scared the shit out of me. And it didn't quite sit right because I didn't have the chance to not only develop physically, but emotionally, spiritually, my ability to dream, interpret, analyze, manifest, and then create. That it really hadn't even started in my early 20s, and yet a lot of my life was already laid out. I could look at any one of the senior nurses and I'd know what my life had to offer. And again, as I got a little bit older and stronger, I realized that the only limitations were the ones that I was gonna accept that were there. And there was a system in place that would definitely keep me there if I decided to take on a lot of these attachments. But what I did know early on was that when I would close my eyes, dream, and sort of see the greater vision of myself, that there was definitely no hospital involved, but I was definitely in a community that worked in a spirit of harmony, working together to have a positive impact on society. And what I realize now more than ever is that these intense desires, emotions, and things that want to come up inside, they got to be honored and respected, because it's bringing out what's truly within, and it's not something that should be ignored. Whereas the essence of hospital nursing is extremely reactionary. It's extremely defensive. By the time patients get to the hospital, it's a lot of things have gone wrong. And as I've gotten a little wiser and understood myself a little bit more, I realize I'm way more of a creative and proactive force. I want to help people get from good to great. I don't want to settle for just okay or decent. And I want to continue to push boundaries and continue to have a high impact on not only myself, but on others and my family and community. As I took more responsibility for myself and my decisions, I really started to study hard. And I took inspiration from a variety of fields, from business, athletics, philosophy, spirituality, alternative health, and I would really analyze people that had a high success habit, a high impact sort of personality. And what I really realized was that they were able to live long, fruitful, healthy lives because a lot of what they were doing and the habits they had were really the opposite of what you would have in a hospital. And that includes exercise, nutrition, sleep, meditation, philosophy, spirituality. And again, what I realize now is that if we can understand those clues that successful people have left, and we can really make our own medicine by understanding our physiology within these aspects. But what really disturbed me was how healthcare was being run as a business, and it was kind of like an insurance or pharmaceutical company. And a lot of times, by the time people get to the hospital, they don't get the services and the things that they need at the right time. And again, you're always kind of playing catch up because you're never really addressing the root cause. For me, I didn't just want to pop pills and medications all day because a lot of times they cause a lot of symptoms and side effects. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen them save lives and they're absolutely miraculous. It's just, I think it plays too big of a role. And there's no reason for people to be on 5, 10, 15, 20 meds. Again, at that point, there's a lot of things that have gone on, and I don't believe more medications are the answer. But I definitely believe the hospital plays its purpose and it's totally necessary. I'm happy it's there. It's just, I'd always laugh because whenever I talk to my patients, it would always be like, when you get better, get the hell out of here as soon as you can and go home, because we know that life is lived outside of the hospital. And then anyone who's ever been to a hospital knows how nutty and crazy and really the environment is not fitting for a healing environment. We have really high stressed out workers and shift work and long hours. They're not conducive to making the best decisions consistently over a long period of time. And this definitely plays a role in the environment that's created in a hospital, where depending on the culture of the floor and the mix of people, it can be extremely toxic. I was very fortunate. I got along well with everybody, and I saw those some people didn't quite fit into the culture, and I would see how there was a lot of bullying, catfighting, and emotional abuse going on. And what happens is that because you kind of have this animosity built up, it turns into a race against the clock, where you're just trying to get your shit done, and there's 100 things you got to do, and you can't really focus on what's really important, and that's the patient and your own health, because we can't take care of others if we can't take care of ourselves. And I truly believe that. Again, there was a lot of the experience of hospital nursing that was extremely important to me, and it meant a lot to me. It really helped me uncover what was within and get me to know myself a little bit better. A lot of those dreams and desires that I have now, it came from the experiences in the hospital. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But because I saw a lot of death, misery, and suffering, it had a major effect on my emotional well-being and my psyche. On the one hand, it made me so present, c'est la vie, live in the moment, and that meant going out, partying, spending my money, chasing women, playing video games, and not a lot of long-term thinking, and that has its drawbacks. And then at a much deeper level, when I would analyze it, there was an anger and a disconnect that was welling up inside of me. And because I saw so much, again, death, misery, and suffering, I'd have to hide memories and suppress things from myself. And I don't believe that's a very healthy way to move forward and to grow, because emotions and memories should contribute to a very wholesome experience. And I wasn't mature enough to be able to put the right kind of meaning behind it. And I know this really affected my relationships with other people and my own health. And at the same time, I was able to really learn how to connect with people at sort of any stage in their life. And one of the most powerful gifts that I'll take away from the experience. And for that, again, I'm extremely grateful. I knew I had to get out. And that led to one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned, and I still use today, is that I had to not only have the intense desire to want it, I had to see it in my mind that it was possible first, and I had to truly believe. And then what happened is that the universe, I felt, just opened up for me. I began to meet people and have opportunities open up where, again, I was able to align myself with people who had the same sort of vision as I did, and I was able to get out. And I remember still, though, what really pushed me forward towards this point was that I would talk to a lot of my patients on their deathbed, and I would ask them, what are you most proud of? What regrets do you have? If you could go back in time, what would you change? What advice do you have for your younger self? And it was always the same, very similar message. It was always to just go for it, to listen to what's within, no matter what anyone else is saying. As long as you're not hurting anyone, dream big and to chase your goals and to appreciate it and love what's going on within. And I know now, looking back, that if I had internalized that message, I could have gotten out a little bit quicker, but it was a development process that I had to go through. And eventually I was able to harness a lot of that message and do what I had to do. And the good thing is, moving forward now, having had the experience of nursing, is that I know what works and what doesn't work, especially the environment that's necessary for a state of health and a state of well-being. And again, if I study even more now the high achievers and the people that I admire, and I see their philosophy on things such as exercise, sleep, meditation, laughter, joy, lightheartedness, and really help others understand these and create their own sense of medicine and happiness in their lives, I know that I can have a greater impact on society. And really, my hope as I share this is that if there's one or two of you, hopefully, especially nurses, that if you're not quite happy where you are and you want to make a greater impact in your life, know that it's possible. I've had a lot more failures than successes. The road to yes is paved with 1,000 no's, and that's a good thing, right? Don't sell yourself short. I believe you have a lot of skills and desires within that. If you hone, harness, and mature enough, it's going to make you a very valuable asset across a lot of industries. And don't sell yourself short. Do your best. And for me, it started with asking myself tough questions and then writing down in my journal, analyzing what was happening, and then just taking one small step a day. And it was really me learning how to ask for mentorship and ask for help from people that I did admire. And eventually I'm at a point now where I'm excited to go to work. And even though the challenges that I'm facing they're more, a lot of times they're more difficult than hospital nursing, the fact that I choose to have these challenges and that I choose to work with certain people and I have to put my best foot forward each day, that process has opened up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities and have put people and circumstances in my life now where I'm extremely excited for the change and the things to come. I can look back on my life and especially my nursing experience and be extremely grateful for where I came from. And then I can look forward and really be excited for what's to come as I continue to develop myself and my skills. That's my story. Thanks for checking me out. And I wish you nothing but luck and good fortune on your journey.